Welcome to the Cryptonomatron. This morning we'll take a quick look at the markets and go through the news stories that I noticed were of interest last night and this morning. First off, the accounting giant PricewaterhouseCoopers accept its first Bitcoin payment for services rendered. So that's quite interesting. It shows it's further legitimizing Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And more institutions are getting involved. Later on this month, CME will start the Bitcoin futures that we spoke about yesterday. And this is interesting because if they accept Bitcoin payments, it will only be a matter of time before other cryptocurrency payments follow, and it further spreads the word and legitimizes the use of them. So mass adoption round the corner, guys, not far away. We just keep chipping away, slowly but surely. We'll get there eventually. In other news, PayPal continuing to limit seller accounts for buying and selling crypto. Just a quick warning here, guys. Please don't use PayPal for any payments. Try not to use it at all if you can. We have cryptocurrency now. There are if you have a website or you have online sales, please try to switch to something that accepts cryptocurrency. If we continue to use PayPal, we continue to finance them, we continue to allow them to get away with what they want, limiting accounts with no reasons, holding people's money for months. You know, they're not an honest agency, so please, guys, don't use PayPal. If there's another option, if you're buying stuff on eBay, pay with a card, bank transfer, whatever. If we keep using PayPal, we keep them active. So please, let's stop using them. And hopefully one of these new ICOs like Utrust or Monetha or something like that will eventually be the nail in PayPal's coffin. In other news, a court ruling in the US grants the Internal Revenue Service access to personal data from 14,000 users of Coinbase. Now, the IRS obviously thinks that some of the users are avoiding tax, so they want to know exactly what's going on so they can contact them directly. This is an important maneuver by the IRS because it means that they can now demand and receive information from websites that have your personal data when you're buying, selling crypto. So be aware of that. Always pay your taxes if you live in a state where you need to. Always try to stay on the right side of the law wherever necessary, and be aware that these companies now these government agencies, will now have your details. In a similar story, the UK has said it won't accept crypto for tax bills, which is fair enough. We're still in the stages of early adoption here, and government institutions, especially customs and excise and revenue and customs as they are these days in the UK, not ready to accept crypto. It may be in the future, and the important thing of this article that I noticed is they are trying to dig their heels into not recognize cryptocurrency and then also regulate. So what I noticed was that profits made on speculation in cryptocurrency, according to the UK Revenue and Customs, are currently chargeable at normal capital gains tax rates, dependent on the facts of the case. So again, if you're a UK citizen and you're taking profits from crypto, bear in mind you have a responsibility to pay the government. There's only two things certain in this life: death and taxes. And just make sure you don't end up on the wrong side of the law, because they will start clamping down once they realise how much money people are making or how much money people have avoided paying in tax, more to the point. And the other thing I noticed in this article was Lord Harris was posed some questions regarding the regulation, and they are going to bring wallet providers and exchanges under anti-money laundering rules in the UK. So be aware that if you're a UK company and you're going to provide a crypto wallet, you'll have to provide information about your users and so on and so forth. And that also brings into consideration the fact that if you're using these services, then you're going to have to be aware that your information is going to the UK government. And this is what I don't like, because they will accuse us of laundering money because we're using cryptocurrency. This is absolute nonsense. Of course, we know that the main currency for any nefarious activity in the world is the US dollar, always has been for many, many decades now, and will continue to be so. But they're trying to basically capture people using crypto and have them on a record so that they can trace for tax purposes. It's all about them getting a slice of the pie, guys. It's not about terrorism or money laundering or any of that nonsense. It's about them getting money out of you and again, controlling you. And the whole point of Bitcoin is to basically not to bank the unbanked, as some people say. It's actually to unbank everybody, as Andreas Antonopoulos says. So we want everybody to be unbanked. We don't want to use banks. We don't want to use your services. We want to remain anonymous. So again, every move that these governments make towards trying to get information about us, in my opinion, is negative. But again, we know that they're going to try and control it because they want to get money off us, and they want to control. And if they don't know who's using money, we have freedom and they don't have control. So moving on, found a great website. It hasn't come to my attention before, it has now. State of the dApps. It is a curated list of 854 at the moment decentralized apps for Ethereum, and there's loads on here. It's a fantastic website. You can scroll through them. You can see everything that's been built on the back of the Ethereum platform. Quite fascinating, very interesting indeed, and certainly you could while away an entire weekend going through that. Brilliant. Just a note, Exodus. Latest release on Exodus this morning. I have updated my wallet, and this is an interesting feature that they've added. It is a detailed exchange history, so you'll be able to actually look through every trade that you've made before on the Exodus platform using the Smart Shift, I think it is, or Shapeshift, sorry, that it's integrated with. So you'll be able to actually look back with all the transactions and see what you've done. So that's fantastic. So download that and update if you can, and I'll leave you with a quick look at the markets. Bitcoin recovering very slightly to 9,875. Market cap dropped about $70 billion yesterday. Just think about that, $70 billion, that's incredible. Bitcoin retaining more market dominance of almost 56%. Alts got wiped yesterday. There were nearly every single alt was in double red figures. It was just incredible. Ethereum recovering. Dash, again, I mentioned Dash yesterday. Good place to keep your money. It did not get hit as bad as the others. Cardano, again, in the green, doing well. I mentioned it before, top 10 currency. It's going to cement its place there now. So maybe you could consider getting a position in it, although I know it's going to be hard for some of you guys that bought it at, say, 2-3 cents and sold it as well because it wasn't doing anything. That's going to be hard to take, guys. I know the feeling. I've done it with others before. There are some that are recovering slightly, but most of the alts are there's still blood in the streets as people, it's a slaughter, guys. It's a slaughter on the alts at the moment. It really is. And again, a good time to accumulate if you can. One that just jumps out at me there, I think, is Power Ledger. And if I'm not wrong, I think Power Ledger is ready. It looks primed to go on another run. It's obviously had a little spurt in the last 24 hours, but I think Power Ledger is still undervalued and could potentially go to another all-time high quite shortly. Let's see what else is going on here. Walton Chain doing exceptionally well. I don't know what happened there. There was some news announced the other day that they were going to use masternodes, I think, which is interesting. I'll try and do a video on Walton in the near future so we can catch up on how they are doing. Ethos recovering slightly, but everything else really suffering, guys. There doesn't seem to be many standouts. A-Chain, interesting. It's gained quite a bit. I don't know anything about that. Substratum, I have a little Substratum video in a minute I'll show you, which I found quite amusing. Let's have a look. Quant Stamp recovered slightly as well, so pretty much a slaughter. Let's have a look at the gainers and losers. There won't be many surprises here. All low market caps, all low volumes, just taking advantage of the volatility. The only one again standing out there is Walton. If you don't know what Walton is, they actually use RFID to track goods, and they've built it around a blockchain system. The name Walton is from the creator of the service. I think his name is John Walton, who created the RFID chips, if I'm not wrong. Somebody can correct me in the comments, I don't mind. Don't worry about it. Again, no surprise who's losing today. B3 coin, can it get any cheaper? It'll disappear off the charts. It's worth less than the square root of fuck all today. It is continuing to drop, and it's simply due to overwhelming supply. Staggering, really. But yeah, there's no surprise to any of these in the losers. They're all, again, very volatile, low market caps, etc. So let's have a look what has come onto CoinMarketCap in the last 24 hours, if there's anything interesting. ETHLend successfully completed its ICO, sold out, which was good for them. And it looks like they're straight on to the CoinMarketCap almost immediately. Quite a high volume for a brand new entrant. And I presume they're only being traded on Ether Delta. I'll check in a second. Event Chain, the other one that came on yesterday, not doing particularly well. Not a great time for hitting the exchanges after an ICO. That's not going to help the investors when you get involved in a war zone. You know, just jump in and then start getting, having to fend off all this attacks left, right, and centre. Almost a 50% drop within the last 24 hours. It's going to be, that's going to hurt investors, and no surprise. But again, it's the luck of the draw. If you enter at a decent time when the markets are in a bullish phase and it's buoyant and everybody's feeling good, then there's a better chance of your ICO token doing well when it hits the exchanges. But if you hit at the wrong time, like yesterday, you're going to get hammered, you're getting taken apart, and that's what's happened to Event Chain, I think. So one to watch, ETHLend. Let's just quickly have a look at it to see the supply. Total supply 1.3 billion. That's very high. I know the ICO sold out, so there must be demand. I guess this will be people picking up off the exchanges. As we can see, it has gone up quite significantly, and volume is increasing as time goes on. And yes, it's just available on Ether Delta at the moment at just over 2 cents, I believe. So that is interesting. I will be keeping my eye on ETHLend, and I will leave you with this amusing video from Bastian on Twitter, at Bastian007. He's a Bitcoiner based in Thailand, and this is his entry for the Substratum meme competition. I think it's very amusing, so enjoy.
Очень мало народу, мадам.
Погоди.
Очень. Беспонтовая музыка. На самом деле, очень плохая музыка.
А зачем вы пришли сюда?
Я думал, намного лучше будет это все. И очень плохая музыка, просто очень плохая музыка. Я думал, намного лучше это все будет. Сколько раз сюда ходил, было намного лучше. Но на этот раз как-то не удалось. Во-первых, народу мало, музыка не очень.
А что за направление?
А?
Что за направление?
Направление? Какое направление?